My name is Sterling Howell. I'm also band leader and vocalist of the band Excite. We work on a cruise ship company called Princess Cruises, and we travel the world representing the country, playing music on cruise ships.
Trinidad and Tobago is a tiny twin island country in the Caribbean and home to 1.4 million people. It was one of the countries across the globe that topped the list of nations that best handled the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, how did this dot on the world map do it? Well, for starters, it was one of the first countries to completely shut down its economy by declaring a stay-at-home order and completely closing its borders. The deadly virus originated in Wuhan, China in December 2019 and escaped to Europe. This continent sees many travelers to the Caribbean during the winter period, and to make matters worse, Trinidad and Tobago's carnival, dubbed the greatest show on earth, was a mere 2 months away. The annual festival attracts tens of thousands of tourists from around the globe. There was no sign of the virus in the Caribbean, so the biggest street party took place in February. But days later, on March 12th, the country recorded its first case of COVID-19. Health Minister Terence Dialsing.
At 2:45 today, we got confirmation of our first case of coronavirus from CARFA. Let me give you a brief history of what has happened so far. This case, should be noted, is an imported case. It's a 52-year-old male who flew into the country from Switzerland on Monday, the 9th of March, that is this Monday. It is worthwhile to know that since Monday, this person has been in self-isolation. The person would have contacted his healthcare professional on Wednesday, the 11th, which is yesterday. The necessary swabs were taken, and CARFA today at 2:45 p.m. contacted me and said we have our first confirmed case of COVID-19.
On March 16th, the Prime Minister said he was not taking any chances and announced the country would be shut down. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley.
The Cabinet met this morning and has taken the decision that Trinidad and Tobago will cease to encourage and facilitate for the next 14 days entry into our country, except under exceptional circumstances, the entry of persons who are not nationals of Trinidad and Tobago. For example, our CARFA workers, health personnel, and similar essential persons who we need would have to come in, and therefore such persons would be exempt. Other than that, we are basically disconnecting ourselves from the international community for the next 14 days.
Thousands of nationals were left scrambling to get home. Many of them who went on after-carnival cruises and holidays and worked abroad were begging to come home. One of them, cruise ship worker Sterling Howell, who works as an entertainer on board the Caribbean Princess cruise ship.
Life on a cruise ship is a nice life. It's something that, how to put it, I mean, we are traveling the world. I've been to countries that I've never seen before, only on television, so it's a beautiful thing seeing all those different countries. Being a musician, it's also a great way of making an honest living and doing what I love. So life on a cruise ship is a beautiful thing for me.
He and his band members, 6 of them, had been out at sea for weeks away from their family, serenading passengers and unaware of COVID-19 or even the steps being taken by his country to keep the virus out. When Mr. Howell found out, it was too late. The borders were already closed. He was so close to home in Caribbean waters, but yet so far. Sterling Howell decided to launch a Get Home campaign via his Facebook page. Sterling Howell.
I am part of the band Excite, and we have been at sea since January. And there's a couple of topics I want to talk about this morning. I would like everyone to share this video. To share this video as much as you can, because this video is not about just me and my band members and whoever is on the ship that need to come home. This video is about all the other Trinidadians that are on different cruise lines that want to come home as well. The first topic I want to talk about this morning, I want to talk to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I want all the citizens to know that all these rumors that the media have been spreading and trying to put in people's mind that cruise ships is the reason for COVID-19, that is a lie. I understand that there was about 63 people came home, and out of that 63, there was 40-something of them had COVID-19, and they had to be quarantined, and I understand they come from a cruise ship. Did they get it on the cruise ship? Possible. Did they get it through the airport coming home? It is also possible. But what I know for a fact is that this ship that I am on, it does not have any COVID-19.
Concerned citizens began sharing his videos to bring awareness, but the situation quickly went downhill as some of his colleagues, frustrated being stuck at sea, committed suicide.
I understand the borders are closed right now and they're trying to make sure everything is all right and that kind of stuff. But the part what bothering me, it have people who making comments on Facebook saying that, you know, cruise ship workers should jump off the ship and leave them there, and, you know, all sorts of negative comments. Like if it is, you know, we were out here having fun. When it is, we were out here working, trying to provide an honest dollar to for our family. I'm doing this live this morning because I came up on some news today. I can remember from another company, not Princess Cruises, but I can remember from another company has jumped off a ship and committed suicide. So all the people who were saying that the crew members should jump off the ship, well, one jump off. And one crew member died. And it's just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking to know that a crew member had to reach the point where he is so frustrated that he can't get home that he decided to take his life. Because all the countries in the world are treating cruise ships as though we are the reason for COVID-19.
But there was no way the government was reopening the borders for anyone. National Security Minister Stuart Young.
We are very sympathetic and we have a lot of empathy for all of our nationals who are outside of Trinidad and Tobago. Believe me, we are getting thousands of requests, and I understand the difficulty, we as a government understand the difficulty that each family is facing as they try to get their family member who is outside back in.
The state was not letting up, and Mr. Howell's mother decided to fight the battle for him at home.
I got a number from Mr. Stuart Young, and I wrote to him asking him via WhatsApp if he could, you know, do something about the 6 nationals, which is my son and his band members, if he could do something for them to come to Trinidad, because I was telling him that they just in Barbados, St. Vincent took their people, Jamaica took their people, Grenada took their people, Barbados took their people. So I was just asking him, what is the problem? Why it is that they are not taking our citizens, and they are just 6?
Did you get a response?
What I'm saying is that if you would take them, quarantine them, if you think they have COVID, quarantine them. And by the way, they were quarantined for 70 days. So I'm saying is, what is this? Take them, quarantine them. I know it have other people on other ships. So take them right now, so you could prepare for who coming. This is my point.
And what did you get a response? It was a WhatsApp message that you sent us. I understand. Did you get a response?
No, I didn't get a response. But next day still, it told me that the ship got a response stating that they're not going to open, they're not going to let them in.
And
so this is what upset me, because come on, they are your people. They've been on the sea since what, April?
Then the host of one of the country's top television morning programs made contact with Mr. Howell. He told the nation of the harrowing ordeal of being stuck at sea.
There's only 6 of us on board this vessel right now. And our Minister of National Security has denied our entry into the country. And it is upsetting because there are other nationals who have been exempted and getting the opportunity to come home. If we were somewhere far away in Southampton or in a different part of the world that we couldn't come home, we understood that we would have to be patient. The issue at hand is that we are right here.
The government announced Mr. Howell and other cruise ship workers will be exempted, but they had to be placed in quarantine for 2 weeks. Alone and missing his wife and son, and no contact with the outside world. The 2 weeks trickled by, and finally he is out. Mr. Howell is happy.
I just started crying because it was a long battle, and I keep saying, you know, with this pandemic, as a country, as a nation, we need to be there for our people in the good times and the bad times. Thought come through my mind 1 or 2 times. I mean, when I realized I wasn't getting to come home, 1 or 2 times I tell myself, I said, I wonder if I should take one for the team and just jump off here, boy. And then, you know, as I say, my mom, you know, the family would call and say, you know, just be strong, and, you know, everybody was trying to be positive, but it was hard. It was hard. I mean, there's no words to explain it. You had to be there to understand. I think I was in a tough position. Mentally, I started having little pains behind my neck, because it's like you're trying and hoping to get some good news, and it's not happening. And the way the pandemic going on right now, we don't know if we did end up in Mexico, what part of the world we would have been in. You know, and I think amongst ourselves as the crew members, we were making, like, having fun with each other, saying who would be the last to come off. And seeing as we were so close to Trinidad, it would have been hard for us to be so close and had to go to Mexico and be the last to come off. So we ended up making it home, but mentally for me, it was a real tough time for me. To the people of Trinidad and Tobago, to the ones who were basically saying to leave us there, I mean, we came home and we did 2 COVID-19 tests, and it came out negative. So that by itself speaks volumes. All the questions, all the holes that were trying to be poked into the story, saying that, you know, people were asking if it is we paying taxes, and you know, who sent holiday. It was kind of crazy, because listen, when I go on a ship and I work for 4 months, I come and I get my money. When I come home, I see it spending. You know what I mean? So those questions, I don't know if it was fear of them asking those kind of questions, but it didn't make sense, and it was like being heartless. Even some people even said, tell them jump off. You know Trinidadians, when a situation happened, and they were taking it for a joke. And I think it's only when people really started jumping off ships. Unfortunately, or I should say fortunately, we didn't have anyone from Trinidad that jumped off. Eventually, they ended up doing the right thing. You know, it didn't start off that way. So eventually they did the right thing. So we are really appreciative of what the Minister of National Security and our Prime Minister has done for us. We understood that they were taking a very serious step in closing the borders for the country, to protect the people of the country. But at the same time, the people who are inside being protected, there are people who are outside that needs to be protected as well. And I think that is something, for me, if I have to give them an advice, I think that is something I would tell them, you know, we just can't think about some. We have to think about finding a way to save all. So that would be my words to the government.